Huawei P50 Pocket Review, the fashion-forward flip phone. With Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip 3 flying off shelves, it's no surprise to see competition heating up for smaller, clamshell-style foldables. The P50 Pocket is Huawei's first take on the form factor, though its fourth foldable phone overall, and there's plenty here to give Samsung pause for thought. Huawei's hardware is spot on, with a foldable display and hinge that put the Z Flip 3s to shame, backed up by a powerful camera and long battery life, two of the Flip's big weak spots. Unfortunately, the P50 Pocket has its own problems, and they're familiar ones. Huawei's well-publicized trade restrictions mean that the phone lacks both 5G and support for Google apps and services. Those are major drawbacks, especially for a phone that starts from €1,299. There are a few differences though. For one, the P50 Pocket is a little larger in every dimension. It's still extremely pocketable, hence the name, but this is definitely a larger phone than its rival. I personally prefer the slightly smaller Samsung, but your mileage may vary. The bigger difference lies in the new, multi-dimensional, hinge. This refined version of the mechanism found in the larger Mate X2 foldable pushes the center of the display out into a drop-shaped space when folding, which both reduces the crease on the screen and allows the phone to close fully, with no visible gap between the two halves when it's folded shut. That may not sound like a big deal, but the seamless hinge adds hugely to how polished and premium the phone feels, and from minute one this phone feels a cut above Samsung's efforts in that respect at least. If nothing else, it gives the Korean company a clear target to aim for in the next Z Flip. That said, Samsung still has the edge elsewhere. For one, the P50 Pocket can't stay open at any angle. It will open fully flat, and is also pretty stable around 90 degrees, but at other angles the screen won't reliably stay in place, and will slowly shift under the force of gravity. The P50 Pocket also has no IP rating to speak of, meaning there's no official protection from water here at all. Fold this in the bath at your peril. One oddity is the phone's finishes. When Huawei launched the phone in China in late 2021, it came in 3 colors, but the black model hasn't survived the jump to the global market. Instead, buyers will have to choose between a regular white version of the phone, or a premium gold model which comes with a €300 surcharge. Admittedly, this does offer extra RAM and storage, too. Huawei has lent into the convenience of the foldable form factor to maximize the size of the P50 Pocket's main screen. The 6.9 inches screen is right at the upper end of what you can find in any phone. It's bigger than the 6.8 inches display on the Galaxy S21 Ultra, so you'll have to be comfortable using a big screen to get on with this. I've mentioned already that one of the benefits of Huawei's new hinge is a reduced crease on the display itself. The bend is still there if you look closely, but it's really not noticeable if you're looking at the phone head-on. You can feel it as you scroll and see it in the photo above, but, again, it's subtle enough that it's very unlikely to bother you. That's just the main display though. You also get a smaller, 1.04 inches circular display on the outside of the phone. This is mostly used as a mini always-on display for when the phone is closed, but you can also swipe through for media controls, the weather, your calendar, or the camera, so that you can take selfies or record video using the main camera setup. It also offers the unusual option to check whether you've evenly applied your sunscreen, with one of the cameras measuring UV light reflections from your skin to figure out where sunscreen is and isn't. It's the definition of a niche feature, but, hey, it works, and we all use sunscreen every now and then, so why not? As for audio, it will be no surprise to hear there's no headphone jack here. The actual speakers are fine. Phone speakers rarely wow, and these are far from the best anyway. Expect minimal bass and a tinny quality to the high notes, but it'll do the job for the odd bit of music or a few YouTube videos. Huawei remains hamstrung by US-enforced trade restrictions, and this has a particular effect on the chips the company can use. As a result, the P50 Pocket is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 888, but a 4G version of the chip, meaning there is no 5G support in the phone at all. At least that is a powerful chip, albeit one that's a year old. Here it's joined by 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage in the regular version of the phone, while the premium edition gets 12GB RAM and 512GB storage, which helps justify the €300 premium for it. For all its infamy in other areas, Huawei is still rightly renowned for creating some of the finest camera hardware in the smartphone industry. With that in mind, it's no surprise to see serious specs here. This isn't Huawei's best camera, the P50 Pro and Mate X2 would have to duke it out for that honor, but it's seriously impressive, and comfortably better than the basic shooters in the Z Flip 3. There are 3 main lenses here, but only 2 are active options for your core photography, so this is really more like a dual camera, with a 40MP main shooter and a 13MP ultra-wide, which can both be used to record video at up to 4K resolution in 60 frames per second. They're supplemented by a 32MP, ultra-spectrum, camera. This isn't actually used to take photos on its own but instead, together with a separate multi-spectrum sensor, supplies depth and color information, including colors beyond the visible spectrum, to help the 2 core lenses deliver better photos with richer color details.